If you're a business owner, security is probably one of those things you hope you never have to really think about until suddenly you do. But what does being secure actually mean for a business? It's not as simple as locking your front door. So today, we're going to break down the essentials of protecting your business, from basic keys all the way to some pretty advanced systems. So let's start with this. Is your front door truly secure? I mean, it seems like a simple enough question, right? You turn the key at the end of the day, you hear that click, and you figure, yep, we're good. But let's pause and really think about what you're protecting behind that single lock. Because for a business, it's so much more than just a room with four walls. You're securing your inventory, your expensive equipment, your sensitive data, and most importantly, your people. Your entire livelihood is in there. Suddenly, every single door, every window, every entry point is a question mark. Okay, so let's dive into our first section, protecting your business. Look, it doesn't matter if you're a small retail shop or a multi-story office building. You've got valuable assets and people to keep safe, and that requires a real professional strategy, something that goes way beyond the standard lock you can pick up at a hardware store. So where do you even begin with all this? Let's start by looking at the foundational tools in a modern commercial locksmith's toolkit. Think of these as the core services that every single business owner should at least know about. First up is facility rekeying. And honestly, this is a brilliant and super cost-effective solution. Instead of the hassle and expense of ripping out all your door hardware, a locksmith can just tweak the tiny pins inside your existing locks. In an instant, all the old keys are completely useless. It's fast, it's efficient, and it's incredibly secure. So when is this an absolute must-do? Well, think about that moment an employee leaves, especially if it wasn't on the best of terms, or that sinking feeling when someone says they've lost their keys. And for sure, if you're moving into a new space, you have no idea how many copies of the old key are floating around out there. Rekeying just wipes the slate clean and gives you that immediate peace of mind. Next up, let's talk about getting smart with control and convenience. And that brings us to the master key system. For any business with more than a couple of doors, this is a total game changer. Basically, you, the owner, get one master key that opens everything. Then your staff get their own keys that only open the specific doors they're allowed to access. What this really means for you is just simplicity and control. No more fumbling with a giant, heavy keychain. You get this clean, organized, tiered system. It's perfect for giving managers access to everything while maybe a new hire can only get into the main office and the break room. And if you're managing a property, this isn't just a nice to have, it's an absolute necessity. But what if you're ready to move beyond old school metal keys entirely? Well, that's where we get into the really cool stuff, the next level of commercial security. Welcome to the world of access control. We're talking things like keypad entry, where you can change the access code in about 10 seconds, or card and fob systems that not only unlock a door, but they also create a digital log of who came in and exactly when. The big takeaway here is you get this incredibly detailed control and a valuable data trail. All right, moving on. We've talked a lot about the what, the services, the tech, but honestly, what might be even more important is the who. When you are literally handing someone the keys to your entire business, trust is everything. Now listen up, because this is huge. Licensed, bonded, and insured. These are not just buzzwords. They are your absolute safety net. It means the provider is recognized by the state, they're accountable for their work, and they carry insurance that protects your business if anything goes wrong. Seriously, don't even think about compromising on this. You see, professionalism is a whole process, not just a one-time promise. A real pro doesn't just show up with a toolbox. They start with a deep dive consultation to really understand your business's unique needs. From there, they build a custom plan that fits your operation and your budget. And after the work is done, the relationship doesn't end. They're there for ongoing support for whatever you need down the road. Okay, theory is great, but let's see how all this stuff actually plays out in the real world. Let's look at how these solutions solve problems that business owners like you are facing every single day. So let's kick things off with a scenario that I'm sure gives a lot of managers nightmares: employee turnover. An employee has just left and things are tense. You can just feel the stress in that statement, can't you? It's not just a logistical problem, it's a genuine security threat. The risk that someone with a key and a grudge might come back is suddenly very, very real. And boom, Here's the solution. It's quick, it's decisive. A professional comes in, methodically rekeys every single door, and within just a few hours, that massive security vulnerability is gone. It's sealed. And those old keys? They're now nothing more than useless pieces of metal. Okay, let's switch gears and look at a totally different kind of business. A retail store has its own unique set of security challenges, right? So you've got a classic two-part problem here. First, you need to give a few trusted people after-hours access without having more keys floating around. And second, there's that gut feeling that your main locks just aren't cutting it anymore. And the solution is this really clever hybrid system. First, you beef up the physical hardware with high-security locks that are tough to pick or drill. Then, for the managers, you install a keypad entry system. No keys for them to lose, and if a manager leaves, you just change the code. It's the best of both worlds, rock-solid security and total flexibility. All right, for our last example, let's tackle a big one, maybe one of the most complex scenarios out there, property management. I mean, that is the ultimate property manager's headache, isn't it? How do you balance that critical need for your team to have universal access for emergencies, while at the same time guaranteeing the privacy and security of every single one of your tenants? And the answer, as you probably guessed, goes right back to that beautiful, elegant master key system we talked about earlier. Your maintenance crew gets one key that works everywhere, you get one key that works everywhere, and every tenant has their own key that only works on their front door, period. It is the perfect, organized solution to what seems like a hopelessly complex problem. So, as we wrap this up, I'll leave you with this one question to think about for your own business. Is your security plan built to handle yesterday's threats, or is it ready for whatever might come tomorrow? Because when it comes to your business, the best kind of security is always looking ahead.